Listen closely, because only 2% of chosen ones will recognize the truth I'm about to reveal. If you felt like you were born different, like your soul came here with a purpose no one else around you understands, this message is for you. You didn't stumble upon this by accident. You were summoned. There's a code hidden in your pain, your isolation, your instincts, and this video will decode it. But most won't get it. Will you? If you are still watching, congratulations. You've already done what most cannot. You've stayed with the frequency long enough to feel it. That's because you don't just hear words. You feel truth in your bones. And the truth is, chosen ones have been hunted in silence for lifetimes. Not by beasts, but by the systems of the world that want you distracted, lost, and disconnected from your original light. You've felt it, haven't you? Like you were born into a reality that doesn't fit your soul. The small talk drains you. The surface-level conversations make you itch. You look around and wonder why everyone seems to be asleep while your mind is racing with questions, meanings, symbols, signs. That's because you didn't come here to conform. You came here to awaken others. But before you could do that, you had to survive your own awakening. And that's not easy. The awakening process for chosen ones feels like destruction at first. Everything around you starts crumbling. Relationships, belief systems, identities you once clung to. It's as if the universe rips away every false layer until nothing is left but raw spirit and divine memory. Most people panic at this stage, but not you. You didn't break, you burned. And from those ashes, a clearer, stronger version of yourself was born. But here's the part only the 2% understand. Your pain wasn't random. It was coded initiation. Every betrayal was a sharpening. Every loss, a lesson in detachment. Every moment you spent alone, crying in the dark, was sacred. You were never abandoned. You were being recalibrated to carry a higher frequency. One that this world is not used to. One that makes others uncomfortable, even if you haven't said a word. That's why people projected their fears onto you. That's why they lied about you, ghosted you, competed with you, underestimated you. Not because you were weak, but because they sensed something ancient inside you. And what the ego cannot understand, it attacks. But now you're starting to see clearly. You don't need revenge. You don't need validation. You don't need a seat at their table, because you came to build your own. You've always been different. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you walk into a room and shift the energy without even trying. You were never meant to blend in. That's why hiding who you are has only made you feel more lost. It's time to stop shrinking. Time to stop apologizing for your light. Time to embrace what you were always meant to become. Some of you have dreams that don't make sense to anyone around you, visions that visit you at night, a gut feeling that something big is coming, something you can't fully explain, but you know deep down it's real. That's not fantasy. That's prophecy. Chosen ones are not delusional. They are tuned in. You're catching signals from a higher realm that others have been conditioned to ignore. Your loneliness has a purpose. It separated you so that you wouldn't be contaminated. The wrong crowd would have delayed your calling. That isolation you hated, it was divine protection. You were being hidden until it was your time to rise. And now, that time is arriving. That's why the warfare has increased lately. That's why the pressure has gotten heavier. Because you're closer than ever to your breakthrough, and the forces of darkness can sense it. But don't fear the attacks. They're confirmation. When you weren't a threat, they left you alone. Now that your gifts are awakening, now that your voice is returning, now that your light is refusing to dim, they panic. But the beautiful part is, no matter what they do, they cannot block what is already written. Your soul contract is sealed. The promise over your life is protected. And the wealth, the healing, the elevation that is yours by divine right, is being released in stages. You've noticed the signs, repeating numbers, dreams that feel more real than waking life, random people telling you things that speak directly to your situation. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. The veil is thinning, and your spirit team, your ancestors, your angels, your higher self, is sending you signals faster than ever. The more you listen, the more they'll speak. But here's what most miss. Being chosen doesn't mean it's easy. It means you're watched more closely, tested more deeply, attacked more frequently. Why? Because your destiny carries weight. Because your words carry power. Because your presence alone disrupts illusions. You don't even need to fight most battles. Your very existence is the weapon. You've always been a mirror. That's why people either love you or can't stand you. Because when they look at you, they're forced to see themselves. And many aren't ready for that level of truth. But it's not your job to convince anyone. It's your job to stay aligned. Because when you're aligned, the right people will find you. Your tribe will recognize your frequency. You won't have to chase, you'll attract. So now the question is, will you step into your full power? Will you stop dimming your light to make others feel comfortable? Will you stop second-guessing what you know in your gut is true? The universe is watching. Your ancestors are cheering. The signs are clear. This is the moment you've been waiting for, not some far-off day in the future. Now, this message isn't for everyone. Most will scroll. Most will dismiss. Most will feel the pull and still look away. But if you're still here, if your spirit is vibrating, if your eyes are tearing up and your heart is racing, then you are the 2%. You were meant to receive this now, because the shift that's coming next requires your full presence, your full courage, your full surrender. The world has lied to you about who you are. They've tried to reduce your power, your vision, your worth, but they didn't create you. God did. And only God can define you. No more shrinking. No more waiting. No more playing it safe. You've been chosen. And now, it's time to move like it. You've been chosen. And now, it's time to move like it. Because the world doesn't change through noise. It changes through presence. Your presence. And that's why the enemy worked overtime to dim you. Because your silence holds power. Your stillness radiates energy. And your truth, it pierces illusions. You don't need to shout to be heard. Your energy speaks first. That's why people feel you before you speak. That's why rooms shift when you walk in, even when you're trying to stay invisible. But you were never meant to be invisible. You were meant to be undeniable. They tried to bury you with lies, with fear, with pain. But they didn't know you were a seed. And now that seed has cracked open, and the light is pouring through the cracks. You're blooming in silence, growing in private, elevating without announcement. And soon, the same people who doubted you will say they always knew. But you'll know the truth, that it was never about them. It was about you remembering who you really are. The divine didn't choose you because you were perfect. You were chosen because you were willing to walk alone, willing to question everything, willing to go through the fire and come out refined. You were willing to lose the world in order to find your soul. That's a rare kind of strength. That's why this message is rare. That's why only the 2% understand. The others will mock your calling. They'll say you've changed. They'll tell you you're too sensitive, too intense, too deep. But don't forget, they told prophets they were crazy too. You're not here to be understood by the masses. You're here to awaken the sleeping. And sometimes that means standing alone, carrying a message that hasn't yet become popular. But here's what they don't see. You carry ancient codes in your DNA. Your soul remembers things this world has forgotten. That's why you're so drawn to mysticism, to sacred symbols, to unexplainable synchronicities. It's not new to you. It's familiar. You've been here before. You've done this work in other lifetimes. That's why it feels so urgent now, because this lifetime is your activation. And right now, the shift is speeding up. Everything fake is falling. Everything hidden is being exposed. And as the chaos rises, the chosen ones are rising too. Quietly, powerfully, without needing attention. Because this isn't about fame, it's about frequency. You are the frequency changer, the pattern breaker, the soul reclaimer. And don't let anyone convince you otherwise. They'll try to keep you small by reminding you of who you used to be. But what they don't understand is, you've been reborn. And this version of you, it doesn't negotiate with doubt. It doesn't beg to be seen. It knows its worth. And it walks with the authority of heaven. You were never meant to fit into the world as it is. You came to help reshape it. But to do that, you had to go through the darkness. You had to lose your way to find your truth. You had to walk through fire to realize you couldn't be burned. Every breakdown was building something within you. Every night you cried alone was watering the seeds of power that are now ready to bloom. That heartbreak, it opened your heart chakra. That rejection, it aligned you with your real tribe. That failure, it redirected you to your real path. Nothing was wasted. Nothing. Even when you were at your lowest, your spirit was never defeated. You were just being trained. The pain wasn't punishment. It was preparation.